Hi, this is Noman, and this is my third video into the public building series. And things are expensive. They're really expensive. So I managed to refine my layout and figure out how to do some things I'm going to do later on for the board and send off the board to be fabricated. And while I was fabricating well, that gets done. I'll go into that a bit later, by the way. I also found a way to reduce costs in the future, which is by mounting the components directly onto the board. So right now, what I'm doing is, and I'll just show you what I mean, right? I am currently taking this Raspberry Pi board, taking this board, and I'm going to mount it to like another board when I can just get some of these components cheaply and then mount those to the board later on and hopefully get some space savings as well on the keyboard. Let's see. Let me open up this again. Yeah. So that is my goal for later on. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have V1 of the board made with these. And to test things out, I am going to need some more components, and that's why things are getting expensive. So I actually made an Excel sheet to show you what I spent money on so far. So here is the Excel sheet. So I had to buy a breadboard kit for like $7, an EE kit, electrical engineering kit for $14, some pins for 538. Let's round it out to six. I bought like the latest Raspberry Pi Pico, the 2350, for $13. I bought some cables for 7. I bought an audio DAC before I pivoted, so that's not being used, but I still bought it. And then I ordered some cheap headphones because tariffs. And so far, I've spent $74 on the project, and I'm going to be spending more money on the project. So, oh, there's also fabrication. I think that was $8. Huh. Actually, I've spent a little bit more than that. So I'll just amend that to move fabrication up here. This is stuff I've already paid for. So I have spent like 80, $90. So I've spent about $82 on this project so far, which is a lot of money. And I have to spend more money. I have to get more Raspberry Pis because, just for redundancy, in case something goes wrong, I have to buy a cable, so just so I can, test out different cables if anything goes wrong. And this is where it kind of gets complex because I have to buy diodes too, and I'll go into that later. And then lastly, I have to pick up like some switches to test out the switches out. There are going to be other costs that come into the sheet as well, and I'll keep updating them as I go through the series. But let me just jump into what I did over the weekend, which was place the order for the PCB, which cost me about $8, most of which was shipping. I mean, uh, they gave me 5 PCBs for $2, and I was really surprised by how cheap that was. But then the shipping is going to be like 20 or $30 to the US to get it in like 2 to 4 days. So I opted for the cheaper option to get it in like 2 weeks for $5, which is great. And I placed the order. But while I was placing the order, I was hoping to use their a mounting service where they mount the components for you. And I had like one component to mount, right? Well, nine of one component to mount, which is the diode. That's why I'm getting that separately, and I'm gonna get help from someone locally to like place those on the board. But the idea right now, but the issue was that they didn't have the components in stock to mount. And I was hoping to use their mounting service to save myself a little bit of money and time, but I guess that's not happening. Since that was not happening, the shipping doesn't matter as much because it can take 2 weeks. Because the diodes are going to take 2 weeks to come anyway. And I looked at a lot of places, and then shipping was super expensive, but I found this generic uh, diode pack, the one I was looking for from on Amazon, which is great because I get it in 2 weeks' time, right? So I'm gonna wait for my PCB boards to come in 2 weeks' time, my diodes to come in 2 weeks' time, and I'm gonna be buying a few more components. Surprisingly, Raspberry Pis are expensive on Amazon. You can get them cheaply, like at your local micro center if it's like walkable or you can take a bus there. But that's it for updates for this video. I have no idea what I'm going to do in the next video. Maybe I'll just test out QMK, the open source keyboard software, and make the keyboard case.